Good evening, everyone. This is the Overdose Talk Show. It's December 5th, 2016. I've got a couple of my oldest and most cherished friends on the line on Skype. Hello to Alex and John Black. Are both of you feeling American tonight?
I'm feeling proud to be an American, yeah. I know this commie isn't, but I am.
John Black, is that true?
Honestly, no, not feeling very American tonight. I'm feeling slightly more Canadian tonight.
Tommy.
I saw a meme that made me think of you, John Black, and it said something to the effect of, I told my trans friend that she was going to be locked in a camp and tortured and re-educated, and she cried. God damn this Donald Trump and his fear-mongering.
No? That's funny to say.
All right.
But ultimately, they are scared.
Yeah,
well, they shouldn't be, and if they are, they're stupid.
Why do you think that, Alex?
Because the president doesn't have the power.
Probably because you've been drinking scotch, but let's hear your reasoning.
Okay.
How many trannies do you know?
Yeah. How many will you admit to knowing is the question.
That's aside from the point. I'm gonna answer the first question first.
Okay.
Why do they not need to be scared? Because the president doesn't have. Okay. One, he doesn't care about trannies. He was just saying that he was just acting like he really did to get the religious vote. But the president doesn't have the power to just start locking up people because of what
he did. The Congress will shut him down. I agree.
It's just these people are overreacting.
Right here, there's a difference between transsexuals and trannies.
What is it?
Trannies like to wear women's clothing and dance around.
Okay.
Transsexuals actually have gender dysphoria.
Okay. All right. Whatever. You know what? I'm not always sure what to call who. So when I ask that, I'm not even being facetious. I'm I really don't even quite know what everyone's.
Your edification.
Well, yeah, there is a professor that said you should, just to be safe, you should ask everyone when you meet them what their preferred pronoun is before you continue the conversation. Just, hi, I'm so and so. By the way, what's your preferred pronoun?
That's one of those things that's just begging for people to have smart-ass answers to, or smart-ass reactions and answers to.
Yeah.
That's just tailor-made for people to be dicks.
I know.
It's also really important to a lot of people, though.
That's kind of why I'm happy this stuff is going on, because it's just fun to make fun of.
It is, but it also, you have to acknowledge the fact that, if a lot of people like us like to talk about free speech all the time, and this is truly, it's not hurting anyone really. If they want to do that, it's fine. I just think it's weird to expect everyone to jump on that train immediately. I don't it doesn't.
It's hard to jump on the train immediately, but it's a matter of respect in general, and just I think that most Trump voters were voting for white entitlement to continue.
That's false. That's 100%.
I don't agree with that either.
100% false.
Yeah.
I will admit again on this show, I voted for Trump, and I did it because it was an anti-establishment vote in my mind. And which may or may not even.
How old are you exactly?
I'm 22. My
okay.
my thoughts before this election were that
he just laughs at you.
It didn't matter who was elected, because I thought, there's people.
This is the first vote you ever got to participate in.
It was the second, dick fuck. I could vote when I was 18.
And you voted for Obama, didn't you?
No, I never said that.
I think you did, though.
Yeah, I did vote for Obama. I was really indoctrinated when I was in high school.
Whatever, dude, I'm not trying to embarrass you either way. But
no.
This is open discourse. Open discourse.
But John Black is one of our resident libtards on the show.
Right, but
affectionately.
let me just
hold on. I just want to play. Yeah, you can in 1 second. I was just gonna add a little context to this, and Alex is a little right-wing monster that I created several years back by turning him on to some information, and he's gone very right-wing with things. I maintain that he'll probably move his way back towards the middle at some point, sort of like I did, but that's kind of where we're at here.
And let me continue. That's exactly, Vinny, what we were talking about earlier. That my kind of right-wing views right now are just a pushback on the left-wing views that were forced upon me in high school and early age.
That's exactly how I used to feel. Yeah, definitely.
So it's like you were forced with the right-wing ideas. So it's just a natural evolution, I think. And I know really my views are pretty moderate, libertarian, but not completely.
Anyways, the point we were getting to.
The point I was getting to. Yeah, let me get back. I voted for Trump because I look at it as either it's an anti-establishment vote or he's part of the establishment and he's gonna get elected anyways, and it wouldn't have mattered who I voted for, because I used to think that it was just so controlled that it didn't matter who you voted for, even if someone got in, they were controlled by these globalists.
I completely understand that, why you don't feel like it matters, but a lot of the people that I know, you're voting for basically like camps for them for reassignment.
No, okay, dude, that's crazy to me.
Right, like where are you getting your information? Memes? Because can you give me any information to back up that transsexuals and gay people will be in camps? I mean,
I can't. I can't at all. But that's what they feel. But I'm just telling you what they feel.
Okay, all right. So you don't agree with what they're saying?
No. Okay, but I'm here as like a cis male that's protective, and
we don't even know
the people I care about.
You have to remind us what that means again.
What does cis mean? And can we go through all 70 genders real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we can. It's really simple. If you guys are both cis.
Okay, what does that mean? We're just straight
white. How do you know we're not secretly gay for each other?
Gender.
So we identify with the gender on our birth certificate that we've always been, whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
There's also non-cis.
So we're binary to our genders. There are non-binary people.
There are non-binary people that don't want to be a male or female. They don't want to be either. They just want to be who they want to be.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you understand? Like in countries like Canada, it's now a law that say people like who rent out homes to people, landlords and business owners, bosses have to refer to people with their correct pronouns, or they're violating the law and they can be arrested.
Where is this?
This is in Canada, where they're now forcing.
Prove it.
They're look it up. They're forcing.
You look it up.
Just type it in, weirdos. They're forcing landlords.
All of my devices are currently busy.
Sounds like a personal issue, John Black. They're forcing these people to refer to these made-up pronouns, by the way, because they haven't really been legally established. But if somebody says they want to be called Z or Zir or Zen, you have to do it by law.
Okay. But what? Okay.
Considering a country that actually exterminated all of the Native Americans and pushed them to a tiny corner and made them drink gasoline to get high, fuck Canada.
Yeah, they're pretty uppity for that, for their history.
Well, I have a theory that the worse the people that invaded a territory dominated the natives, the more they're trying to make up for it now. So like Canada probably really fucked up their Indians. We were like really assholes when we got here.
Canada,
you know, like
Canada still has like rampant racism against Native Americans all over the rural areas. It's like really common, you know. Whereas the United States, weirdly, when you know like your relatives that are out from somewhere where there's Native Americans, because we didn't really grow up around it very much. But I had relatives that did, and they all had this really like noble reverence of this wonderful culture that they, you know what I mean? They had this really like
like
admiration.
You name all your streets like Iroquois and Mohawk and
dude,
your hockey team's Blackhawks.
The U.S. isn't that bad though. Like other countries are worse. I mean, Australia,
we're not that bad.
No.
Here's what you could say about Native Americans and the U.S. We're not that bad because the job is about done. I mean, it's not much left to fucking do to those people.
Pretty much over. Like we got the pipeline thing to deal with, and then after that, you know, they're pretty much
Obama put a nix to that tonight. If you were to pay attention in the news,
did that order come straight from the head office?
It did.
I saw that the what is it? The Army engineer or whatever you have.
The Corps.
The Indians won for I mean,
I guess they denied the permit, which who knew? Because I didn't fucking know that was still an option, that they could just go, okay, well, yeah. Well, I thought this had all been kind of carried out in court and whatever, and that the Native Americans were just being officially trampled over, but I didn't even know that this could happen. So apparently they're just saying, you can't go under the Missouri River, and
I'm finding out there's a lot of things you don't know that could happen. I mean, you were pretty surprised about the Trump victory, I think.
Well, who wasn't, dude?
I was, but I thought it would happen, but I still was surprised because you had me so convinced that couldn't happen.
Yeah, and the other thing I was saying was if it did happen, that means he's controlled. And look who he's had a lot of classic fucking, evil appointments. It's not like he's appointing. Where's Ron Paul in his cabinet if he's so fucking great?
Okay.
Huh?
Let's be clear.
Where's Ron Paul? Ron Paul 2012 forever. Sorry.
Let's be clear. These are appointments that the mainstream media knows about. You don't know if he's talking to Ron Paul on the phone in private. You don't. I honestly think he's spending the next 2 months trolling the media, trolling the fuck out of the media. And we're not going to know what he's doing until fucking the day he gets inaugurated. He has no obligations to the media because they were his main enemy. They were his main.
I don't give a shit that he. I really don't care. Like the left in this country is trying to make this big deal out of like he's breaking tradition and shunning the media, and the media are our friends.
I
blah,
love
like
that.
I don't give a fuck what he does to the media. I hope he doesn't talk to any of them at all. I know that sounds like almost, Stalinistic, but that's not the fucking angle I'm coming at. I'm just saying they're a joke anyways. What the fuck do I care what they're going to say to the media? Who the fuck cares?
Honestly, he should start a website called PresidentTrump.com and just give all his information straight from there. Nobody can distort it.
No, that's very that's kind of against what this country is about, but
No. I'm saying like give out what he's talking about and then let news outlets talk about it from there.
I guess that would be the same fucking thing. But what I just can't be like defensive or sort of oh, we lost John Black on Skype and he's calling back. Hello.
Hey, re-invite me to your thing. You just kicked me off.
All right, let me try.
Hey, John.
Anyways,
fucking idiot.
I don't know how to, let me figure out how to add people to this call. There we go. So what the fuck was I saying? That really broke my train of thought.
Yeah. Way to derail.
I was saying, I just can't be like defensive or in any way in support of the idea that the media is somehow involved in any kind of real conversation in this country anymore. The mainstream media, it's fucking retarded.
Yeah,
as retarded and rambling as what I just said was, they're worse. I guarantee you, because that was one of my probably one of my worst 40 seconds ever on the show, and I'd rather listen to that than CNN. John Black, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
You guys got what I was saying, right?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I totally get what you're saying, and I agree.
Thank you.
The mainstream media, I think, has basically they could have saved any reputation they had with this election. Maybe say had Hillary won and they were it was perceived that they were telling the truth, but they've just lied so much and they're still lying. Nobody fucking trusts them.
Yeah, and going back to what John said originally was people voting for Trump or voting for white entitlement. I think that's part of the reason that so many people voted for Trump is they were sick of hearing shit like that. Like,
wait, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, okay. So yeah, for the white entitlement thing, in a way, no, I wasn't voting for white entitlement. I was voting against this culture that makes white males feel like they don't have a fucking voice. Their opinion doesn't matter. They're advantaged. So minorities by default are better than them, and they can do. Like that's.
He's a little right-wing scamp. This one.
No, that's
no. Okay, so all right,
you're gonna deny that all over mainstream media commercials, anything you see, any movie that comes out now, mainstream, it's always like the white guy's this fucking cuck and he's a fucking loser, and the women's all empowered and there's the big strong black guy. Like that's totally this cult like. That's what they're pushing in the media.
All right. Let me ask you this: How tall are you, Alex?
6 feet tall.
You're 6 feet tall.
Why
are you such a coward? Like seriously, why are you threatened by these people?
Threatened by who?
These people you're yelling about right now.
Yeah, see, you can get worked up.
What are they taking from you?
Here's what I hear from spending too much time online. You can get worked up about stuff that you don't actually experience in your everyday life out in the world. I understand what you're saying. There's there are some stuff there are some things there are some stuff in the media that is unfair to white people, but then there also have been and still are things that go the other way. And it's a lot more complicated.
Right.
I mean, I do get a little annoyed.
It's funny you guys.
But no. I'm not trying to go against everything you're saying. I understand. It's just that I think you're getting more worked up than you need to, because it's stuff that you get into an echo chamber with online, and it starts to drive you nuts. And you go, what is this hypocrisy? But because there's shit like. Every time you see a security company commercial, who's breaking into the house?
All right. Well, you're
no. I'm asking you, who's in every fucking commercial for every security company you've ever seen? Who's breaking into the house in the commercial?
I don't know.
The white guy.
It's a white guy. It's always a white guy because they don't want to. I mean, so I understand that might be a petty one, but there's a lot of that in the media.
But you're implying that you just inferred that I.
Well, you sound like you're 85 years old. You're ranting about black heroes in movies.
No. You just made it sound like I only feel this way because I've seen this on the internet and I've never experienced in real life.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you get into an echo chamber online that repeats the same kind of stuff over and over, and maybe you get more worked up.
All right. So let me let me put it a little bit into perspective from like my perspective.
My whole thing was trying to explain why it wasn't white entitlement, like people voting for fucking Trump.
All right, so hold on. So here's what we're doing. Alex is saying he's voting. He was voting more against a culture that he feels like further and further maybe has a double standard for white people and somehow like tries to cut them out of conversations and demonize them. Okay?
But that's one aspect of it, and I don't want to paint the picture like that's just it. It's the PC culture in a whole. One part of this cultural Marxist culture is that white people are marginalized, but that's just where we're at right now. It's the whole cultural Marxist PC culture, but go on.
But yeah, you're talking culturally, not like systematically. Like we can surely acknowledge that there's stuff going on in the government and the judicial system, especially that targets black people, always has been. It's a whole different thing, right? Is that what you're saying?
well,
as someone who's
rightfully so.
lived in a culture for 12 years in New Orleans where it's pretty much majority black.
Not anymore.
I've had machine guns put in my face. I've been mugged on the street twice, and it was always by black men. But I do not believe it's because it's a racial thing. I think it's because it's a economic equality. And the fact that they don't have proper education.
We all know
I don't. I actually have a theory, but all right. Well, no. Before we get to that, I just want to point out it's not a fucking okay. The fact that police hassle black people more than white people, like, do you guys see that as a problem, or do you see that as justified?
Well, I think there's a long history in this country coming down from high levels of targeting black people and using the war on drugs.
I also
to
think
target
law
black
enforcement is wrong.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's wrong, and I've had it done to me too. It's just, Alex, it's a fact.
Dude,
that
no. That was my argument with a friend the other day that I had. He was trying to say black people are treated unfairly by police, but I was like, I actually know more white people that have been treated unfairly by police.
Yeah, but you also know
because you know more white people.
Yeah,
okay,
and that's the same. All right. Dude, that's the same thing.
But let me just point out this. Okay, say your job is to protect a community of people from.
Vinny, leave that new bubbler alone.
It's the only way I like to smoke now.
Your job's a community. Your job is to protect a community. From 1980.
That's not a cop's job. A cop's job is to observe and report crime and bring a person to trial. That's never been the job.
You're right. But like, this is how society. All right, but how police should be doing their job, not how you perceive it, and well, how it actually is. But from 1980 to 2008. Black males committed 52% of the homicides, despite
I know, dude, but this
making up 13% of the population.
We have a prison-for-profit system that targets black men.
If cops aren't selecting black people out, then they're not doing their job, because you can't do your job without stereotyping.
Since when are you in support of cops doing their jobs? What has happened to you?
Does Alex have like a cop in his family?
No, he hates cops. He used to.
I do, but I'm just saying, if okay, this is what I'm saying. This is actually okay. This is not really the argument I'm making to you. It's the argument I make to regular people. Dude,
you're getting too caught up in this shit. I'm telling you.
No, but I tell regular people that think the cops should be there. I'm like, okay, well, if you think the cops are doing the right thing, then I give them those statistics, and I say, based off those statistics, they should be targeting black people more. I say, all right, fine. I shouldn't have brought it up to you guys, but this is just what I say to regular people.
But hold on, it's such a huge conversation, and you can't leave out the kind of systematic targeting, culturally. On the black population in this country.
How they've been displaced.
Just, dude, the millions of things that have come out from FBI and CIA documents about specifically targeting black culture and black leaders and destroying neighborhoods with, I mean, there's a lot of people that have made a very good case that AIDS was engineered to target black people worse than white people, and the numbers seem to kind of bear that out too.
No, it was the blacks and the homosexuals.
Right.
Vinny,
and so, well, hold on,
Vinny
Alex.
and John. No, okay, sorry.
I'm just trying to say, there's a lot more to the conversation than just like here's some stats about crime and blah blah blah. There's a reason these fucking communities are fucked up, dude. And there's a reason they were actually doing a lot better without government intrusion and creating programs that eventually cultivate dependency.
There's this whole system.
And
this
I
whole
think
system, like Vinny, you've lived in New Orleans, you know this, like where black neighborhoods don't have access to grocery stores.
Oh yeah, that's a huge one. How can you fucking develop your brain as a kid when the whole culture around you and everything in your neighborhood that you can get to and stuff is just crap fucking food, and you're just,
you live out of the 7-Eleven,
right?
Right.
You're eating sugar.
You know,
they drop a Whole Foods in your neighborhood. Good luck with that.
Well,
okay.
that's when they start.
You know
that's when the condos go up and shit starts changing, but not for you. You know,
John, Vinny, I think I did just get caught up a little bit in a lot of right wing kind of talking points, and
yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I realize that, but actually, I want to. The upside to me going through that kind of phase that I've been going through in the last few months is I've been reading a book which is more moderate, and it talks about how the result of all this is the cultural Marxism, which is the divide and conquer, divide by race, sexuality, sex, anything you can.
Dude, completely. I understand that and agree with it fully.
And that's actually where I'm kind of moving more towards my political evolution.
I know, but see, here's the thing. And I totally understand that it's the establishment's goal to keep us divided by race and religion and sexuality and blah 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 and make us fight with each other.
Look, if you think about it.
But hold on. I haven't even made my point. Well,
let him make his point.
Shut up, stupid. Listen. What I was gonna say was, I understanding all of that. I think when you start to get to be too like anti-PC or anti-liberal, even though I understand where the anger comes from, because a lot of that shit is really annoying, but when you start getting too anti that, you just become a dick in a lot of ways, and it's like you don't need to be like all the stuff with all the stuff with the gender pronouns and everything. It's like, does it really matter what I mean?
Well, if they're forcing you to change language, then yes, it does matter.
They're not forcing. They can't force you, dude. They can never.
In Canada, they are in the universities, though.
Okay, I know but going to a university has been a way to get brainwashed for fucking 50 years. I mean, we know that.
I know, but just the fact that that's happening means we all know they slowly implement these things, and they see if people will bite, and if they do, then they implement them. So the fact that it's going on, it should be discussed.
Because the transgender community has so much of an agenda. Besides just wanting to go to the bathroom.
Well, I mean, you look at how.
I mean, if you think about it, like, did you pee in the same bathroom as your sister when you grew up? Yes, you did.
Not at the same time.
Did that matter then?
Honestly, I've heard so many. God. I've heard so many like.
Wait, do you and your sister pee together? Did your sister sit on the toilet and you would pee through her legs while she was peeing? Is that what you guys were doing?
No, I did that with my girlfriend though.
Oh, you guys.
Yeah. But
this.
I've just what's the matter? You're just going to the bathroom. Who cares?
Okay, fine. The bathroom thing. We've talked about that. That's so fucking 6 months ago.
If somebody's trying to look like I'm female or passable as a female, nobody cares that they're in the women's bathroom.
Right.
It's like the guy.
It's already really not a problem.
And I've actually, I've heard this, but I've only heard the second.
Plus, hold on.
I've only heard this secondhand. I don't know this.
Women really aren't very judgmental typically about transgender people and whatever. So if they're going in the women's bathroom, I would think I never understood about that issue. Where was this whole confusing problem going on so much? Like where? Huh? You guys are cutting out. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're cutting out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we are to each other. Look, that's how a lot of relationships work. You feel like, man, I can't understand what you're saying. And what you don't realize is the other person is feeling the exact same way as you. You don't want to admit it, but that's what's going on. This is like a metaphor for life and relationships. You guys back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, like my boyfriend was born female. and he uses male restrooms. Okay?
Yeah, that's great.
So, no, it's not great. It's often a troubling situation.
Well, why is that troubling to you? Because you're afraid that someone will like get mad or something?
Yeah, I feel very protective.
John, are you being serious right now?
Of course.
Okay, so what does your boyfriend call themselves? A transgender male?
He's a he.
No. Would they consider themselves a transgender male?
Trans man.
A trans man.
Trans man. That sounds like a superhero.
This is the way, for the listeners at home, when there's trans and then whatever they say after that, it means opposite, because that means they're transitioning to that, so they were born the other. So trans man, so it's biologically a woman who is either made steps or wants to make steps to be a man. Am I correct in saying that?
He's always been male.
He was
just
born.
Didn't have the parts.
Well, okay, so
born.
According to you and him, like, all right, he would say, I was born. I'm a male in my body. I was just born in the wrong body. That type of situation.
It's no, not that. It's called dysphoria.
Yeah. So okay, but were they born with a vagina or a penis?
A vagina.
Okay, so biologically a female.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Can you explain? Hold on. Let me interject here for a second. Can you explain dysphoria?
It's
a brain dysphoria.
Okay, so there's a person named Lolo Ferrari. That's their name, and they got breast augmentations till the point that they suffocated underneath their breasts.
Okay.
And it's a real thing you need to acknowledge.
I don't
if you
have
do
to not laugh at it, though, do I?
No, of course not.
Okay.
But, like, if you have to acknowledge if someone does not feel like they're a female anymore, and they want to be a male, and they want to be acknowledged by a male pronoun, what skin is that off your nose?
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I feel,
how does that hurt you?
Here, to be honest, hold on, Alex. I feel really both ways about it. I feel like, on one hand, I feel like, yeah, it's really not much to ask, and it doesn't hurt me at all, and I would do it, honestly. You know what I mean? Just out of respect for somebody and whatever. What does it hurt me? Yeah, fine.
In common parlance, just let them go.
Well, yeah, no. I know, I understand that, and I'm totally with that. But there is a part of me that, for some reason, at a certain point, I do start to get annoyed. I don't know why. I just am like, all right. But not you, and not what you're describing, and not whatever, because you're cool, and we've known each other for years, and nothing I could possibly say would fucking hurt your feelings, I'm sure. So it's like we're pretty free with each other, But I at a certain point, I get where Alex comes from with the almost lack of logic behind a lot of it sometimes, but whatever.
Okay.
All right. So so let me talk to you about this.
All right.
How many transgendered people do you deal with in your daily life?
712, and they're all in a club that I started, Vinny and his nutty trannies. And we do street performances.
Trannies are straight males that dress up like women.
Okay,
it's completely different.
Look, mine they don't fit into.
I thought tranny was just
dude, my and plus, yeah, mine they don't have to fit into your fucking rigid boxes from your fucking. This is your archaic social perspective, dude.
Stop.
No, Alex, you've talked more than everyone else combined. Shut up! I'm trying to do something.
I've shut up for 10 minutes. I want to say something.
No, you didn't. You're a drunk.
He's had enough
asshole.
scotch.
No, I'm not. This is the problem with talking about this stuff. Is everyone has a different fucking definition of what this shit means. There's no baseline definition. So we're all talking about different things from different definitions. It just gives. I have a headache. I'm trying to keep up with the fucking pronouns and the genders and the dysphorias. I'm fucking. What the fuck, man?
When did you turn into a fucking farmer from the 30s? It's hilarious.
Hold on, Vinny. Let me talk to Alex for a second.
All right.
Like, you don't have to worry about that. If you're unsure
of
the pronoun.
And
Alex, shut the fuck up, dude. Let somebody else talk. Jesus Christ. John?
If you're unsure of the pronoun, ask. It's that simple.
What did I say to you earlier, Vinny? About the fucking professor who says that we should all ask somebody. Wait, all right. If you're unsure, yeah, I guess. But it shouldn't be a given. And they're pushing that in universities.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, here's the other thing that I wonder about the whole crowd that's really pushing this stuff is like, if gender roles and assignments and stereotypes are so unimportant and you know, to be progressive is to move past all of that, then really what do you give a shit if somebody who you know goddamn good and well is kind of uninformed about your movement says the wrong thing to you? What does that matter?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Does it really matter to you? I think everybody needs to relax. That's what I think. It really doesn't fucking matter on both sides as much as everyone, you know. Where is this argument really going, or what does it matter? You know, like,
right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Because when you talk about, like, globalist issues with normal people that don't know about it, you don't really care that they don't, like, because they just don't know. You can't be that mad at them. But I want to make something clear. I don't care about, like, if someone wants to be called a female and they're male, or male and called a female, I don't care. Like, I'm really okay with that. I don't want to come off like I'm against that, just to set the record straight.
Yeah, that's fine. But dude, I understand.
I kind of like to play devil's advocate because advocate because sorry, I burped when I said that. No, I just feel like we're in the height, or maybe the peak of this PC culture, and I like to kind of agitate things by always taking this right wing.
The height of PC culture was 1996.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really? It wasn't Obama?
No, it was 1996. That's when PC fucking shit hit the fan. And you couldn't even go outside and say fart, fart, poop, poop without anyone saying something.
No, that was just when it first affected you, because you were, 15 or something? And you were like...
in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, in Ann Arbor. And don't forget, John,
fart, fart, poop, poop?
John Black is from one of the biggest, weirdest leftist colonies in all of these colonies. British colonies that
I'm a total socialist. Like...
Well, dude, when I would go to Ann Arbor and hang out with John Black, it was like it was like being at that festival we were talking about. Me and Alex once went to
I went
a regional.
I went
oh yeah, you've been there. And me and Alex once went to a regional Burning Man event called Lakes of Fire. And it was fucking the worst place. The biggest collection of fucking assholes I've ever been around in my entire life. And it's
not like that anymore.
We thought we were.
It's all Asian now. Everyone's Asian.
No one speaks. I don't
fucking like them either.
Pumped.
We
were pumped about this. We thought we were going to hang out with some really cool fucking open-minded people.
Yeah, totally. We thought it was going to be free-spirited, just like be who you are, do what you want. And it was like, no, be a femi guy who wears one of these costumes.
Be who you want you.
It was like be who you want if we're okay with who that is.
If you're exactly like us, dude. Do everything you like if you're exactly like us. That's the whole fucking modern hippie kind of thing that's going on. It's like just
it's the right. I don't know what to call it.
Me and Alex and we didn't. And by the way, we didn't have one political discussion or anything like that the entire fucking time we were there.
Imagine if we did.
No. But we didn't want that. We were trying to have a good time, and everybody was such a fucking asshole, dude. Everybody was such a dick. Basically, I think because they were instantly judging us by maybe just the way we kind of carried ourselves and talked. Because everyone else there was a very flowery,
It could be.
Very flowery, like natural cuckold, and we were just kind
remember
of like,
how,
hey,
Alex, you remember how everybody had this voice and it like they could like barely speak? It was like it's so
Alex,
hard to finish my work.
Are you guys making up right now?
Alex, do you remember me? Do you remember me, Jill? How have you been? How's your mother?
Have you guys checked out the? Have you guys checked out that neon?
Alright, I got the impression. You guys can stop.
What does your tattoo say? What does your tattoo say?
But John,
oh my God,
John! I swear to God, it was every single last fucking person there, like gay, straight, or whatever. That's how everyone talked. Everyone. And
even my dad, and he doesn't normally really talk that.
Oh, yeah. Your dad really.
My dad turned gay for the weekend because I swear to God, this was like third or fourth night, or no, it was a day, and we're standing there. He's working the bar that like our camp had, and we see somebody.
Much.
Disclosure: there's a lot of nudists there, and somebody's walking and he points at them and he's like, "Oh, look at that ass." And he can't see as clearly as I can. His eyes are really bad. And I'm like, Dad, that's a guy. And he's like,
no,
he didn't know what to say. Yeah, he's like, "No." And me and Vinny looked at each other like, "Yeah, that's a guy."
Maybe you don't know your dad as well as you think you do.
Trust me.
No, I think we got him pegged.
Yeah. Honestly, you don't want to see the things I've seen my dad do.
Oh my goodness.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
So look, let's head to a quick break for a smoke and a regroup. John Black, are you gonna hang out for a little while?
Yeah, I'm good.
I know you gotta work in the morning. Like fucking.
What time is it?
It's like 2-something, 2:15, 2:20.
No, I gotta go. I gotta work at 7:15.
All right. No, it's an hour earlier where you are. It's 1:30 or less. It's before 1:30.
It's 1:25.
Yeah, where you are.
Well,
You're in Michigan. The time. Remember how I used to drive
30.
I used to drive to Dearborn to get weed, and like 3 times in a row, I forgot that the time changed on my way there, and I would be an hour late to meet the fucking guy.
It's literally 3:30 where I am.
Oh.
Oh, it's an hour. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I had it backwards.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
I got to sleep. But keep in mind that you guys should keep open hearts and be nice to people.
Yeah, dude, I'm plenty nice. I'm as nice as I can fucking be.
I know you are. Yeah, I'm as nice as it gets. I just, when it comes to these shows, I like to fucking just say fucking ridiculous shit.
Plus, there's a lot of...
I get it, but, like, keep in mind that, like, there are transsexual and gay people everywhere that are really, really, really scared right now.
Well,
and whether you believe in like non-binary or not, they do deserve your support.
I think,
they have my support, but I think the most important thing to say to them is you're being lied to by the mainstream media. You have nothing to worry about. Nothing's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and we would hope that. And
I think you need to hit them with a dose of reality.
I think if me or Alex, if either one of us thought that there was any danger to people based on their sexuality, we would be equally outraged. Like.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we just don't fucking think that that's a realistic, you know.
I respect what you're saying, and I hear it, but yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
If somebody and by the way, if somebody can prove it to us, we'll be on it. You know, I mean, if somebody can say like, here's the evidence, here's what's going on. I understand a lot of the appointments are.
What if I could get a bunch of trans people? Like on your show.
Let's do a trans.
Yeah, dude, I don't mind that at all. But
that'd be a really good show.
Let's do a trans.
Here's the other thing.
Transsexual Tuesday.
Hold on. Here's the other thing I would say is this. You know, he is appointing people, and the vice president has done some pretty creepy things as far as being anti LGBTQ, right? And
plus A.
He seems like a real creep, and a few other people. And I get the fucking the logic behind going, look, this is an anti-gay cabinet and blah blah blah. But here's the thing: Barack Obama's whole administration is pro-gay, right? What the fuck did they get done? It took them 7.5 years to get the fucking gay, gay marriage thing done.
That's not his fault.
Let me remind in 2000.
Wait, hold on, Alex. This is the exact point I'm making. So that's not his fault. It was Congress, right? That is the fucking same story with every single president in my fucking lifetime. Here's what I said I was going to do.
Get shit done.
I said I was going to do this. It takes about 2 years to get all these plans together. Oh, whoops, power shifted in Congress. It's a right or left Congress now. Couldn't get all that shit I wanted to get done for you. That's the same president's game, dude. It's every time, over and over. That's the same fucking story. That's what I'm saying.
I just want a polite dictator.
All right, I just want to take a break for a cigarette and fuck you to both of you guys.
Oh, you can't smoke while you're on the phone.
Vinny, are we coming back? Let's come back.
We'll be back. Overdose Talk Show. Thanks for sticking
with
us.
You guys have fun making fun of me. Bye.
We're not going to make fun of you, John. We like you.
Yeah, John, you're the best.
Bye.
John.
Coolest faggot I know.
Yeah, coolest bye dude I know.
I mean, if I was my grandma talking about black people, I would say something like, nah, he's a faggot, but he's really well spoken. You know what I mean? He's
my father made a every single time.
He's really articulate for a faggot.
Right? Yeah, he's a faggot, but he's got good hygiene.
He takes care of himself.
And he never mugs white ladies. Sorry, John. All right, we're out of here for a minute. All right, thanks, John. Bye. All right. We're back on the Overdose Talk Show.
Yeah.
John Black took off. Me and Alex just chilling. A little bit of echo. Never hurt nobody. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but we're sticking in for the people. We're here.
Oh yeah. Just in case you haven't gotten bored of fucking drunk white people talking about black people and whatever we're doing, whatever the fuck.
So for the rest of the show, I identify as a black female. So, just know that any opinions I give are from the female of a black. From a black female's perspective.
Hold on, why don't you go ahead and try that whole thing again? I don't think we got it the first time. No?
Wait, you're setting me up?
All right, never mind.
I see. I wasn't trying to fall for that, Vinny.
So I had a interesting conversation a couple nights ago. This was weird because I want to be careful about how I talk about this because, I want to promote these guys because I like them, but I almost don't want it to be like I'm having a one-sided conversation about this one guy where and he can't respond.
Sure.
But
yeah.
So whatever. Nobody gives a shit anyways. I had a friend come through town who's a rapper that I've worked with a couple times. And we, to my knowledge, are have a mutual respect and like each other a lot. And he's playing with this guy who worked on some records that are huge in my life. Some of my a couple of my favorite records of all time, and that he engineered and produced and mixed and whatever. So I get to meet the guy. I'm like, hey, cool. And I kind of tell him, blah, blah, blah. And then when we get back, we're heading out. They're staying with me, right? And so I'm taking them. We live above the bar, so I'm taking them around the back, upstairs and whatever. And this conversation starts on the way there where I happen to tell my friend who's black, and he's in a group who's got, 6 or 7 or 8 guys and they're all black. And there's some lyrics that could be interpreted as being racist against white people, believe it or not. Which I have zero problem with, as we always talk about. We want to say whatever the fuck we want to say, so we support everybody's right to say whatever the fuck they want to say. Fine.
Yeah.
You know what? To be honest, I like the album, even though there's might be a couple lines that kind of bother me, I like the album, and it's okay if shit bothers me. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I mentioned to him, I said, look, I got a few friends that have listened to that album, and they've said to me, it's a cool album, but it's racist against white people. And I just thought that would spark an interesting conversation. So
right.
the other guy that we're with, who's this guy that I really admire, so I don't want to
talk. He's black, right?
No, not the other guy.
Okay.
My main friend who I know, yeah, he's black and he's about the same age as me. He's from Chicago, and
okay.
So great, and they're great artists too, which is why I feel weird about kind of talking about this, but it's just like I don't want to put something on YouTube with their names. And I didn't give them the chance to fucking say anything, and maybe you know what I mean. Is that weird?
No, just don't name any names, and
yeah,
maybe we'll get them. Get them on the show, but just tell your story.
Maybe some other time they could be on the show. Yeah. So, anyways, the other guy, the guy that I admire, who I've listened to his work many times over the years, he says something like, "How in the fuck could a black person be racist against a white person?" And I was like, all right, and I think my response was kind of like, are you serious? Like, is that really what you think? Like, and he's like, well, yeah. And he does the thing about racism can only be an oppressing class against an oppressed class, which I know is. And I've had this whole thing with people at bars, and we've looked up, and there's a couple acceptable definitions according to whatever Webster's that you look up, and that is one of them, and the other one has more to do with just discriminating in any way against someone based on their race. So I guess it depends what you. I mean, so the whole so anyways, we end up with this kind of tense argument where like I'm like, I did not want to do this with a guy who I was excited to meet, who I'm like. You know what I mean? Who's somebody that I admire. So I'm like, but I'm standing my ground philosophically, I guess. I was like, look,
right.
And I outlined the thing. I'm like, I've been the only white person in a million situations, and I've experienced racism against me in all kinds of subtle and really, demonstrative, upfront kind of ways. So he's like, no, that was prejudice. And I'm like, you mean like racial prejudice? Well, yeah, I guess so. Because I'm like, well, yeah, it is. If it's racially based, it's racial prejudice, but that's not racism. No, not because it's so it's like this semantics thing where we both. It's not like we have a real philosophical disagreement where it's like I think racism is all right or some shit, And he's like, no, it's bad. It's like, it's just, we're in this weird tense argument about, I guess a disagreement about the definition of the word racism, but that always bothers me, that thing of like, because, and I was telling him, I'm like, look, it might be just my experience, but I've personally experienced a lot more open racism against white people than I have against anyone else. I've seen it, you know what I mean? That's just my experience. And then I made a joke about Jews, and he got really mad. He was like, because we were getting to a point, and he was like, he said something about the people who really run things, and I was like, finally, the Jews. And he was like, all right. He's like, you know what? I've had enough. And he started picking up his bags and stuff. And I was like, dude, come on, I'm joking. I was like, dude, seriously, like, is that too fucked up of a joke for you? And he's like, and then we were cool. Honestly, we ended cool. I think me and him are cool if we run into each other again, and everything's fine. It's not like we fucking went at each other's throats. But I just felt so weird and awkward about it because now I'm in like, I'm at a cool hip hop show, right? They bring me on stage. I did a verse with my buddy who I fucking think is a great artist, and I get to be there the same night as another guy who I genuinely admire from way back. And it's like now I'm in this weird argument where I'm like this right-wing guy, and it got into white privilege, and I was like, dude, look, that's just a political tool. It's fucking, and no, it's you experience white privilege every day. I'm like, yeah, but I also experience white disadvantage in other ways culturally. So, I mean, I'm not some fucking idiot who lives in some, like, all-white town in Nebraska and doesn't know fucking culture. I mean, I've been around. I've experienced the...
born in the city, or near the city.
Well, yeah, but whatever. It's just... it kind of got under my skin, and it bothered me because it sucked, because I was really hoping that this guy would think I was cool, to be honest with you. I know that's so fucking like lame, but I was honestly I hope this guy like thinks I'm cool, that likes my music, and maybe we'll run into each other again and we can do a show or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, that's what I was hoping for, and now I think he just thinks I'm like some crazy right-wing fuck. Like,
well, that's the problem with calling somebody like, or just bringing up racism in general, is it's an umbrella statement, and it's racism shit you can't prove. As soon as it's the worst thing you can call somebody, because as soon as you call somebody a racist, you can't disprove that, and usually the people can't even prove that it's true. It's this thing. It like, and I see what you mean, that like on paper, you and this kid should have gotten along really well, and then because of this bullshit nothing argument, you spent a majority of your time arguing when you could have been talking about creative shit.
Well, we could have been talking about like some kind of cool science thing or something. Anything. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the problem with this.
And to be honest, in case he were to ever hear this, or somebody that knew what I was talking about, it's like we ended up fine, and I saw them off in the morning, and everything was cool, and we didn't go to bed angry, as they say, you know. But like, I just felt like kind of douchey about it. Like, why are we even doing this, you know? And the other, by the way, it was a whole conversation about race, and the black guy who was there, we both kept like cutting him off and arguing with each other. I remembered that the next day. I was like, oh my God, what a fucking display of buffoonery. But he kept trying to cut in, and I really don't remember anything that he said. I only remember what the guy that I was arguing with said, because my buddy who was the black guy, was like saying probably shit that didn't make me angry. You know, so like like I don't even remember the good stuff. I just remember the shitty exchange. Like,
I know,
but whatever, dude. I don't know.
But I think the point you were trying to make, it's like this. It's this institutionalized thing where some people think like that, and the other half don't. We see it clearly, and.
I wouldn't even, dude. I don't even want to go as far as
to say that. Yeah, whatever.
I just think that it's a difference of opinion that really doesn't even fucking matter. We would get along fine if we just didn't even talk about it. Like,
looking at it from two different lenses, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you could be talking about more interesting shit, more intelligent shit, than wasting your time with that. So I totally get what you're saying.
And I'm probably really only representing my side of the argument here too.
Yeah.
But, you know, and that was the other interesting thing. When I started really listening to him, because sometimes you get a little worked up with each other, and then you back down a little. And when I was really listening to him, I remember at one point saying, I was like, dude, I'm kind of lost as to where we even disagree anymore. Because, like, I'm not arguing against... I think people are so used to, when they disagree on a certain topic, then you lump that person in with a whole crowd in your mind. Like, and I think we kind of both did that to each other for a minute, where we went like, okay, so you must be this, you know what I mean? Subconsciously you do that. So I think we were really ended up arguing about nothing, when we actually, because like I've got these views that a lot of people would think were right wing in some ways, but then again, like I feel like you know, with stuff that's more social, like dealing with race and sexuality, I'm really liberal, you know. So it's like, I don't know, dude. Except for religion, I think I'm an anti-religious fascist. Because
I think this is just like the problem with all these labels is people who know enough to understand it. Like we're sitting here saying, you know, I'm right wing, but I'm left wing in this way, but it's.
It's so stupid. What are we doing with our fucking lives?
Why are we even talking about it?
Yeah, dude, what are we doing? Shit used to be fun. I swear to God, like 10 years ago, people were just fucking hanging out. I swear to God. And shit just went fucking insane. Now you gotta. Everything is arguing. That's all anything is.
Exactly. You know, I don't know. I don't think. Maybe you can't change anybody's mind unless it's online. Maybe you should only argue online now, and we should just have all our fun in person.
Well, dude, I went the opposite way. The reason I started this show, part of it was because I would like to talk about all this stuff, but I can't do the commenting thing and then nobody reading each other's, just being like, here's mine. Ooh. Like, read this thing that I didn't even read. Pew. It says a headline that supports what I'm saying. Pew. Look at me. Ooh. Just like fucking the whole. It's so douchey. I see now, like, under articles, there's like the top comments that it's like got like 75,000 likes and whatever. It's like the most insipid, fucking just average cookie cutter shit you could possibly think of. Like, I could have written that. Could I be a prolific commenter with thousands of likes if I just fucking dumbed myself down and made it, you know,
right?
Like,
if you wore some stupid hat and just dressed like an idiot and said some retarded shit, did a lot of hallucinogens, you could probably make $20,000 off YouTube a year. But YouTube people suck. The people who don't suck on YouTube are the ones who they have their platforms off YouTube. They have their websites or podcasts or whatever, and they upload it to YouTube. And
this has changed. This has changed from two white guys talking about black people to two unsuccessful people telling people how to do things. This is the new show. But everything, dude. This is the point. Like, you know, I think there used to be. I love the internet and I love the free access to information. And I understand everything on there isn't true. You know, okay, great. You know, but I love the access to the stuff that I vet to be true and blah blah blah. And I think that the average person is more informed. It's undeniable. The average person that knows more about more stuff than they did 10, 20 years ago. But I think there used to be a little bit more charm to a society that didn't fucking comment on things they didn't fucking have anything to do with or know about. And I think that's what we've completely lost, is we've given so much value to the random opinion about a thing, you know, that can make someone world famous. Here's what the fuck I think about that. And there's, you know, I guess there's good and bad applications of that, you know. Sometimes it's something incredibly poignant. But then we isolate that thing and make that the fucking the goal and the earmark of success, and it's just got, you know what I mean, and it's there's so much of it that's so fucking disposable and stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro? You know what I'm saying? We've like lost our souls, man. But there was a thing. There really used to be a thing that was like, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything about it because it has got nothing to do with me and I don't know about it. That used to be a thing. How satisfying would that be to experience again?
I would be ecstatic to just hear something. No, but I used to say that.
But now somebody says that and you go, "Oh, you fucking moron! You don't know anything about shit." Yeah. You could have
Googled it on your phone.
Yeah, you don't even read the fucking news on Facebook. You fucking asshole. Yeah. The fuck are you talking about?
You don't read the 4 news articles a day iPhones provide for you.
You're a willfully ignorant sheep. That's exactly what you are, sir. Yeah. You know, you have access at your fingertips to more knowledge than the previous 1,000 years of human beings have had access to in their entire lifetime in 10 seconds on your fucking device, sir. Do you understand that? And we're all such fucking assholes now. When did this happen?
Assholes about it. You know, I kind of had a revelation about the internet kind of today, where I was like, I'm going to start treating the internet more like it's a college that I'm attending. Like, anyone I'm interested in, they're a professor. You know, Professor Jones, Professor fucking Breitbart, Professor McKenna, and like just actually try to learn as much as I can from the internet and stop paying attention to these stupid websites like Facebook because they don't matter. I made a Facebook recently, but it's solely just to post things about how Facebook is starting to censor their news.
Dude, that's so 6 years ago. That's what everybody used to say like 5-6 years ago. Like, oh, I'm just on Facebook to infiltrate their fucking platform and spread info the right way.
All right. Well, I don't know. You know what? I might honestly just stop because I don't even like giving them any information, any pictures of my face. I don't want them to have my bio, like any information about me at all. So I should probably just get off there.
You know what? I mean, I totally believe everything about all of this stuff being CIA backed, like, you know, programs to document and catalog every person. And I completely believe it. But I also think that if the time comes that I really need to do anything that they'll give a shit about, I'll stop using it. But I'm like, at this point, I'm just another in it. And I probably shouldn't use it just knowing what I know. But I think I'm complacent enough to go, you know what, if I'm just blending into a billion other people that they're watching and not doing anything really all that significant.
Well, yeah, and actually what I've thought about recently is like if you just start deleting what you've put out now and you let the natural progression of people coming up on the internet putting all this information out.
What if it's in a cloud?
Well, okay, but like I'm just saying but like in 20 years there'll be so much information at the way the population is growing. More and more countries are getting computers. There might just be too much to even dig through. I don't know, but maybe not. I don't fucking know. That's why I'm really interested in this stuff, and I think it's really what people need to start paying more attention to is technology because it's the only thing that's going to matter in the future.
Is that true?
Dude, you're fucking everything from your coffee maker to your car to your fucking dishwasher to your TV is going to be all linked up in the same system, and everything's going to be connected. Everything's going to be on the same little technological grid, and they're going to control us by it's the technocracy. I know. Thank you. You're far too kind. It's.
I mean, I understand. I've seen a lot of the same stuff you have, and yeah, there's a lot of that going on. But you got to imagine to what end? Like, are they going to be able to keep their oligarchy running forever, or are we headed towards some sort of revolution of at least thought? If not,
well, that's exactly. I think and you know it's. I've also kind of realized, like, paying attention to a lot of people I admire throughout history. They always try to like predict what is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, and they never really do. It happens like 50 years later. Nobody is ever really good at predicting what's about to happen quickly.
Yeah, like they can get the trend of like, okay, eventually this thing will lead to this thing, and they're usually
they're always off.
They think it's gonna happen in like 35. Remember in Demolition Man, that movie is what for I don't know, late 80s, early 90s or something, or I don't even remember when, maybe even mid 80s. But I remember they show dates and it's like 2006 or something, and everybody's got flying cars and like they're all dressed like they're in Star Trek and shit, and walking around and like
you just made me spit scotch on my laptop.
It's exactly what I wanted to do tonight. Checking that off my bucket list.
Fuck.
But there was but like it's always like, and 1984 is probably looks more like 2035 if we don't do something.
Well, wait. Okay, I was looking. Have you ever seen those? I don't know if you call them whatever you call them.
Wait, weren't you getting to some other point that I was?
Off.
I was trying to enhance your point about like the how people are always off a little bit. Were you trying to get to some other point, or am I being stupid right now instead?
Oh, just that like I want to predict what's going to happen in the next 20 or 30 years, but what's the point? Because I probably like it could be 100 years or it could be 5 years. I don't like. That's the way technology has been moving lately.
Yeah, honestly, it wouldn't be that
predicting. All you can do is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just prepare as you can now for the tech. Just understand that we're going to live in an entire world where everything is run by technology. Everything, even third world countries. Vinny, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And just everybody understand that you to repair a computer or maybe learn how to code or something, because that's really all that's going to matter in the future. In like I don't know, the way I see it progressing, like 20 or 30 years, but it might be like 100 years. I might be speaking too early. I might be, you know, like how when he wrote, you know, they thought the shit would be going on in 1984, but it's really happening now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might be 30 years off. It might be in 50 years, but I'm saying eventually everything's going to be technology. Maybe getting like a...
Are you saying that human beings basically have no choice other than to, at some point, be slaves to these machines?
Fuck no. I'm saying the entire population should arm themselves with the knowledge of how these machines work and how to disarm them, so that if one day they attempt to take over our race, we can stop it. We have the procedures in place to prevent that. We should start looking towards that, because we should understand that that's the natural progression of where we're going. Everything is technology. Everything is on a computer. Everything is computerized now. And it's just going to be more and more.
I think I get what you're saying. I think what you're saying is that if we don't convince more of our fellow Americans to join in the alliance against the machines, that we are facing 100% chance of extinction via Skynet and the global technocracy.
Dun, dun, dun. Exactly. Join the resistance, everybody.
Okay.
Because you got to pick a side when the time comes. And let me tell you, if you pick the side of the robots, you're going to lose.
You know what, Alex? I know that you're familiar with my political philosophy. And to be honest, you know, a lot of it relies on not being willing to choose the lesser of two evils. And in my opinion, humanity versus machines, humanity is only the lesser of two evils.
So what are you saying, Ben?
I'm saying that we may have no choice but to become, you know, anarchists in the sense of humans versus androids, and just go along with it. Fuck it. Let's get out of here. Go to another planet.
You know what? I'm totally open to that.
That didn't make sense. I guess it is kind of scary to go to another planet, but...
Well, it's scary for... Yeah. Well,
as far as... You wouldn't be scared in space? I would be shitting my pants the entire time.
No.
Jesus.
If one thing goes wrong with your ship, you're dead. If the oxygen shuts off, you're dead. I wouldn't go to space unless Earth was uninhabitable.
You could brush your teeth too hard and throw off the whole weight balance of the whole thing and send it into a tailspin into a black hole. That's what I've heard.
Like, how long would it take to jerk off?
Time to take a break! We'll be back in a minute.
All right.
What, dude? I'm drunk. I gotta take breaks.
Take a cigarette.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Back on the Overdose Talk Show. It's me and my friend Alex. That's all. I did call Andrea to ask her if she wanted to be on the show. She didn't answer. It was already like 11:30 when we decided to do it. But
well, you could have called her at any time of the day. She never answers the phone.
She never does. You're right.
I'd like to establish that on the show. She's very bad at answering the phone.
She is, dude. And then she doesn't call you back, and she's like, "Well, you should have texted me." Like, I don't have, dude. Come on. Everybody sees that they have a missed call. Like, what am I supposed to pretend that I haven't had a cell phone for 25,000 years? Like, I'm supposed to fucking sit here and I don't know how cell phones work. There's no possible way that you would know to call me back unless I text you as well. What the
It bugs
fuck?
me that we're supposed to know this etiquette just naturally. That like it's never established or written down. It's just like, well, you should have texted if I didn't answer. Well, how do I know that? Because I'm more of just a talk on the phone person.
It's so much, dude. You'll text with somebody for a month and a half in what could have been said in 15 seconds on the phone. It's like
Exactly.
it really is fucking annoying. Yes,
Texting.
we're fucking we're back here on 80-year-olds in their 20s and 30s. I'm not sure how we got like this, but it happened.
Society, man.
Right, it's not our fucking fault.
It's fucking society, man.
What else we got in here? Pedophilia, blah 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 blah.
Pedophilia.
Huh?
The thing is, I think they're trying to normalize pedophilia.
Who's
actually
trying?
okay.
Who?
Whoa, okay. I just put this theory together right now, so it's really on the spot. It's fly by my pants, but just hear me out.
So this is breaking right now. We're bringing you this story live on the Overdose Talk Show.
We're breaking this theory right now. Okay.
Alex's theory. Okay.
When was Andrew Breitbart killed? 2014, I believe.
It sounds right. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe he was 2013.
2014. Okay. Now, okay, that was around the time. Well, I know actually a year before that, and a couple days before he was killed, there were two different tweets that mentioned John Podesta and being a pedophile, and talking about how the Washington D.C. community covers up for these people.
John Podesta, of course, Hillary's campaign manager, and the person who's been linked to the Pizzagate WikiLeaks emails that seem to be talking about a child sex ring, and also the disappearance of that girl in 2007. Him and his brother's faces seem to match almost exactly the police sketches. Okay,
right.
So that's the John Podesta that we're talking about.
So this John Podesta, but I'd like to point out that in 2013 and early 2014, this was not public knowledge, because these WikiLeaks came out 3 weeks before the election. They were the Podesta email leaks. They were the leaks that were found on Huma Abedin's computer that was seized in an FBI investigation. And where they found, or no, sorry. It was the Anthony Weiner's laptop that was that was seized in an FBI investigation.
God, he's just a treasure trove of political scandal.
Right.
Just never stops giving.
He's totally just like a little puppet of theirs. But so they seized Anthony Weiner's computer, and I know you guys have heard of these 30,000 plus.
This whole thing really is pretty extraordinary, because law enforcement at high levels has refused to act on crimes like this for decades.
Let me fill the whole story out though.
Yeah.
So they got Anthony Weiner's computer because he was once again sexting teenage girls, and what they found was, and if you people remember this, the 33,000 plus emails that Hillary Clinton had deleted when they subpoenaed her entire email account. Mm-hmm. Some of these emails were found on Anthony Weiner's computer, because Huma Abedin, Anthony Weiner's wife, had hid some of these like a ton of emails on his computer before they had erased all of their they were smashing iPhones. This was all in the news, and this was all, they erased all that, but some of it, I believe some of these deleted emails were on Anthony Weiner's computer, and they were tied to this pedophilia ring that's going on, and it's pretty undeniable that something's going on once you look at the whole picture.
Okay, wow. That was a great way to say about 4 seconds worth of shit in like 7.5 minutes, but that's cool. I swear to God, you just went in a complete circle without saying anything that we didn't already say. Was it just me?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty drunk.
Anyways, yeah, this shit is all pretty creepy. But I pulled this article. Pedophilia is a sexual orientation. And this is from earlier this year. And I think we've done this stuff before, but there has been shit like this that's come out that people are like, look, this is not something that you can change. This is something that they're just born with, and it's a defect, and they can't do anything about it.
Sorry, Vinny, that's actually that's where I'm drunk where I lost my point. That's why I brought up Breitbart being killed 2 years ago, was because I think he was killed in 2014, and 2015 they started putting these stories out where pedophilia is this sexual orientation that you can't really choose, and it's okay to be a pedophile, and they were pushing that in 2015, and then in 2016 the story about him, John Podesta, actually comes out.
Well, sorry, dude, everybody knows
my seven and a half minutes of rambling. That's what I meant to fucking put together.
Everybody who has gone deep enough down the rabbit hole in conspiracy theory and these topics, eventually you realize it's just a fact that people who speak out about pedophilia get killed. It's just it's happened over and over and over and over and over. And it's a very dangerous thing. It's almost as dangerous as alternative energies. And if you invent a new way that a car can drive from Chicago to California on 3 liters of water or something, you're gonna die. That's what's gonna happen to you. There's no avoiding it. But if you speak out about pedophilia, same thing. It seems like. So this whole thing is pretty unprecedented. I in my lifetime, I don't remember. I mean, a lot of stuff has come out. The whole what is it? The one in Nebraska that I was reading the book about now. The Franklin cover up. That's the biggest thing that I've ever heard of.
Little boy,
and that's pales in comparison to what this will probably turn into.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing I think about the internet, though, is that if there's enough of us talking about it at the same time, they can't come and just shut us up all at once.
They don't probably need to shut me and you up because we're offering pretty much no facts at this point. So we're just pretty much just didn't prepare, and we're just fucking...
We're just risking the tops of a lot of information. You could look up all this stuff we're saying and find out a lot of really interesting stuff. But we're just rambling about it at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we do in the third hour of the show, and it's okay.
Did you see? Remember that the guy that got killed in, I think it was South Carolina, Scott Walker, who was running away from the cop in the park, and the cop shot him in the back, a bunch of times. Do you remember this case?
In the last year or so, or what?
Within the last 2 years, for sure.
Maybe.
Whatever.
Oh, I mean, I've heard of cases like that. So what? Yeah. Anyways,
it was really clear. It was all on video. A guy shot it from the sidewalk nearby, and the guy was running away from him. And from what I remember of the video, he doesn't even really look like he can run that well. He looked like he might have had a back problem or a leg problem or something, and the cop shot him in the back.
Right.
Not with a taser, with his gun. All right, so... The cop, everybody was really happy. The cop's name is Schlager, Michael Schlager. Everybody was really happy that he got charged, and he was charged with murder, I think, and he was going up in front of a jury. And now I guess it's been leaked that one of the jurors is refusing to find him guilty, and is basically saying, even with the video evidence and everything else, I can't be convinced of his guilt because he's a cop. So that's all it takes, I suppose, and they're going to probably have a mistrial. And the further this gets from the headlines, the easier it's going to be to let the cop get away with it.
So he's going to... Wait, the one... So, what is it called? He's nullifying the jury, this one guy, because...
it's not nullification. It's just that it's going to be a mistrial, because if a jury refuses to come to a unanimous decision, it's always a mistrial. I think
Oh,
there might be. There might be.
I thought that was what, because this one guy is saying I'm not.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be unanimous. Yeah.
Is he saying he thinks he's not guilty, or is he just saying I can't charge him because he's a cop? I can't decide.
He's just saying I can't, in good conscience, consider a guilty verdict, or I can't be convinced of his guilt. I don't believe he's guilty. I refuse to find him guilty.
So what? So what'll happen? They'll get a new jury and do it over.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And they'll probably fucking.
But that just goes to show you the way people are brainwashed is like.
Fucking yeah,
you
no,
can
and
see the
honestly,
video, the guy is clearly no threat to the cop whatsoever. We covered this on one of the early talk shows that we did, actually, one of our first shows, and it was fucking ridiculous. It's one of the most ridiculous ones I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of these fucking police killings. What?
I'm gonna predict this on this show, and we'll check in after it happens. I say he gets found innocent because they get a jury full of people who are sympathetic towards the cop. And
that probably won't happen, but I don't know. I don't know what will. I'm not sure. And I don't know if there's a thing too where if one juror is just being unreasonable and they can demonstrate that somehow, the rest of them, I don't know if you can overrule one juror in any case. I'm not sure.
I thought that was the definition of jury nullification. That the one person was just like, I can't agree with this conscience.
I thought jury nullification was the jury finding that the law that the person broke was unconstitutional. That's what I thought. And they're saying, okay, we're not gonna convict them based on the law.
Like
weed
okay, yeah, like they got arrested for weed, and I believe that is unjust. So I will nullify this jury on my. Okay, yeah, you're right.
That's what I think, at least. India poll.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Did you hear about this? They're trying to go to a cashless society in India, and people are getting really mad and protesting all over the place.
Dude, like, all right, there's so many countries where they're what they can take out of ATMs, and I just saw some.
Well, they would like to do that here.
I know, but I just saw some rich European countries, really kind of socialist countries, talking about a cashless society. It was like a conference in the last 2 days. They've been pushing this for the last 2 years, and they're gonna keep pushing this. And I think our only chance, honestly, I've realized how important America is to the world, because everybody looks to us as like a beacon of what is about to happen or what's going to happen. No, they really do. And if we were to abolish the Federal Reserve and go back to the gold standard, and I don't know, I think we could change things. Because the world will follow suit. You've looked after our election. I think Italy today just elected a right-wing party, and there's a few other countries who have elected right-wing parties. You saw in Iceland, they almost elected the pirate party. There's some really cool things going on around the world. Populism is growing. Nationalism is growing. People realize the effects of global. And they're sick of it, and they're voting against it with their feet, their dollars, their fucking votes, whatever they can. Everybody seems to be speaking out against the system, and I think it's the result of the internet.
I didn't mean to do that yet. Sorry. Sorry. Anyways, go on with what you were saying there.
I was about finished.
Were you?
Yeah, we just need to come together as a people. This is a great nation, the greatest nation that has ever existed. And if we fail Everybody's going to fail. We need to realize it's not just about us, our neighbors. What we do need to, because we need to kind of get back to a localized level of government and caring about each other. But we need to realize that America is a beacon of hope for the rest of the world.
You know what? I think I know what you're saying. Is it? Are you pretty much saying this?
And the only nigger on the planet is the white man and the white woman.
Exactly. And the European culture is being attacked by the Zionist No, I'm just saying that we need to come together as one. And we can do it. Anybody listening to this transmission, as a radio broadcaster once said, you are part of the resistance. And I personally welcome you to the resistance.
Right.
And I say, let's denounce this fucking dictatorship to be. Let's deny it. Let's not be complacent.
Oh, okay.
Let's fight back.
All right.
Let's fuck them up.
Hold on.
We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Is that what you're doing? Is that it? Or no?
I'll just let your jokes bomb by themselves. I don't need to say anything.
Hey. We're done.
We're not done.
Yeah, we are.
We're coming back.
No, this is the end of the show music. We're not coming
back. We're coming
There's
back.
no point. Should we?
No.
Do you really want to?
Yeah.
I'm gonna mop the floor with you in the next segment. I'm gonna fuck
Sounds
you up.
good.
Dude, people are gonna be sharing it all over the internet. They're gonna be like, super cool artist slays right-wing faggot in an epic interview. You wait.
Young
fine.
Turk.
We'll come back. Whatever.
Young Turk slays in
Alright, shut up.
warrior. Fuck you. Suck my cock.
Do you think if it was the 1930s that you would be way worse of a criminal than you are now?
Yeah.
I think about that, like, dude, honestly, for as much as I hate, like, the New World Order and everything like that, I have to admit, I probably would have been a way worse criminal when I still was one if there was no way to, like, trace things and there wasn't all this technology to catch people and shit. It really is a pretty fucking good deterrent.
Because basically, like, once you got out of something, like, as long as you didn't get hung in a town when, like, back in the day, like, as long as you didn't get sentenced to death and you got away, you could just, like, change your name and go to another town and nobody knew the difference.
You could just show up places and just make names up. Just like, yeah, right, I need a bank account and a social security fucking number and you know, like a driver's license and a bar. And by the way, start me a tab. I'm gonna need a couple bottles of whiskey and a bunch of other supplies that I can get here for some reason because apparently you went to a bar for everything.
And then you could just shoot the bartender and leave and not pay for it. Go to the next town.
Just shoot everybody there. Yeah.
I probably would have been an asshole back in the Wild West. I'd be an outlaw for sure. I mean, why not? You know, I'll tell you why not. Maybe if I was raised by a family in like an established kind of town with a sheriff and everything.
Yeah, you might not even think of doing stuff like that because you're like, oh, that's how you get killed. Like, it would be the same like, crazy motherfuckers that do crazy shit now that would be doing that shit.
So, like, but like, say I don't have parents, I just grow up like being raised by bandits. Yeah, I'd probably be an outlaw, but like, it would really depend on my situation. It's so hard to tell. I can't really.
I guess things haven't changed all that much, have they? You know what I mean? It's like it's cycles. It's
kind of the way the world goes around. It keeps on spinning, even if you don't.
Yes, the world turns. I remember one time I was in 4th grade, and there was this kid named Aman, And he was you know what? To tell you the truth, I don't know. We just called him Indian. He probably wasn't. He's probably like Saudi Arabian or something. He had a turban. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with him, but
nobody moved from Saudi Arabia to America. He was probably like Pakistani.
One time he got up. We had this situation in this class. We were in 4th grade, and this teacher was his name was Mr. Swanson, and he was like had been there at this grade school for like 35 years. Dude, I don't even want to say this. He was a nice guy, but like some fucking now you think about it, like a guy in his 60s that's been at a grade school for 35 years. Like how many hundreds of thousands of children did he definitely molest? Millions. But no. Here's what kind of time it was back then. Here's how shit has changed. He had a fucking party. Whoa. Listen to this. He had a party at his house, a bumper pool party for the whole class to come to. Listen, do you know what bumper pool is? You got like a tiny pool table, and there's a bunch of like little like
throw the balls,
almost like pinball bumpers looking things. And there's just and you got to like shoot balls around in different situations, whatever it is. But he had the entire 4th grade class inside of his home playing bumper pool. And it was 1994, I want to say. Anyways, what I was getting to originally, this kid Aman, this class was out of control. Mm-hmm. Nobody had it. Like, it would just constantly erupt into nonsense. And he would just be like sitting at his desk like, yep, I don't give a fuck. I'm out of here in 4 months. Don't care. You guys do whatever the fuck you want. And I remember this kid Aman giving this long speech. And we were talking about like sex education. He was like, poignantly, actually, I got to give him credit, talking about like how sex wasn't a dirty thing or something. I forget. And he pauses and he goes, he's at the Globe and he goes, it's like one of my favorite daytime broadcasts as the world turns, and he spins the globe. And that image has been in my mind
my God.
for 20 plus years. That kid was so fucking badass. Plus, while he was like giving a speech to the class about like something poignant, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it had to do with sex.
No, that's the thing. When until you graduate high school, people only need to do one thing to solidify themselves as a legend forever.
But hold on,
if they just do one.
We talk so much about pedophilia. Imagine that now.
Oh.
The 4th grade teacher, and he lived like back in this like wooded area, and all our parents just dropped us off. They just took us there, have a good time. And
dude,
imagine that now. The 4th grade teacher lives back in this fucking like secluded house in the woods. That's what it was like. It had a name. It was one of those people that names his house. You know what I mean? I don't remember what the name was, but they're like
the playhouse or something.
Like rich people, when you go stay with some rich family at their fucking lake house or some shit, and it has a name. You know what I mean? It was like that.
Yeah.
His house like had a name. It was like White Pines or some shit. That wasn't it. But they just drop us off. Here's the bumper pool. By the way, I won the bumper pool tournament. If you must know, I did.
I bet you did.
I did. I was very good at trajectories as a youngster. But no, I don't remember hearing any stories about it or the guy or anything like that. But like, just imagine how much different it is now. Like, do you think every parent of 30 kids is dropping their kid off at the 60-year-old man 4th grade teacher's house in the woods to play bumper pool? Do you think about that? Think about it. Think about it.
Dude.
Molestation. Think about it.
That was the attitude when I was in 4th grade. So
really?
I cannot. Yeah. Like, people were very weird, but now every elementary school, high school, and middle school, the doors are locked and they have cameras where you have to press a button and they look at you through a camera. The secretary does, and decide if they want to let you in or not. They'll like talk to you through an intercom. Because I was delivering to high schools with Jimmy John's, and I had to go back to the high school. Like, and I also teach at some elementary school, so they're all like they've really locked down on security now. So I cannot imagine.
It doesn't help that your nickname is Alex Lanza Callahan. We probably shouldn't have gotten that to be. We probably shouldn't have.
What's my nickname?
Alex Lanza Callahan.
What's that?
Whatever.
I don't get the reference.
The shooter from Sandy Hook. See, that was a very terrible joke that would have only worked if someone else thought it was funny, probably.
Yeah, if only Trix was here. Well, I wouldn't compare myself to Adam Lanza.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope you wouldn't either.
No, definitely.
But the schools are very different now. Yeah, I don't see anyone going to a teacher's house and having a party there like you did. I'm pretty sure you were molested, Vin. Do you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I think that I've just repressed it. That this memory is so compelling to me. Rather unremarkable occurrence, a bumper pool tournament when I was 10. It sticks out so vividly in my memory, probably because of the repressed abuse and trauma that I suffered. I guess we'll never know.
No, we can know. Tell us, Vinny.
You'll have to hypnotize me first.
All right.
We'll need to get a hypnotist on the show and see if I was molested by Mr. Swanson. I hate that because I think he was actually probably just a good guy, honestly. There were more of those than molesters, statistically. So I hope that he was.
I'm sure, you fucking rape apologist.
Am I? Is that what I'm doing?
You're being
he was an obvious rapist, right?
You're being a pedophile apologist.
Well, who has a party full of kids? I even remember.
Only pedophiles.
I think there were a few moms around or something, or maybe at the party, and I remember the comment being made by adults at the time. I do remember, like, how generous and nice is it to you for you to have a party full of that many kids in your home? I would never do that. That would be too much trouble. I do remember that comment.
That was their outlook on it, like, oh, he's just so nice.
Well, the world was fucking naive, dude. Nobody knew. Mm-hmm. I mean, the pedophile issue is fucking giant. From commoners to elites that seem to run these like, really soul-crushing fucking rings and regimes. But
honestly, okay.
People didn't know. I remember when I was first looking into the Franklin cover-up, the pedophile ring out in Nebraska. They had a hard time even finding like pedophilia experts to take a look at the case or comment on the case. There was like 2 or 3 in the entire fucking country in the 80s. They just didn't look at it as a real problem. Probably because people in power are pedophiles and keep it out of the fucking limelight.
Okay. So.
Okay. Fine. You talk.
Sorry. Now. No. I want to talk on what you're saying and expand on it.
Mm-hmm. Talk on it, bro.
I've had a few theories brewing in my cranium.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard recently in the last year that memories are passed through DNA.
Yeah. Or that like you can be exposed to different DNA and get different ancestral memories from it almost. Like there was an article going around about like if you fuck girls that have fucked other guys without this sounds so fucking stupid now that I'm saying it out loud actually. But about how your DNA can actually be changed during your lifetime and it contains ancestral memories. Yeah, I've heard about this stuff. Sounds retarded now that I'm saying it, to be honest. But,
well, yeah, you put it in this stupid way, and
sorry about that.
Way to mislead the listeners, but
why don't you clear things up, there, young
All right,
Alex?
There are clear studies that show, that memories, traumatic memories, extreme memories, very impactful things on a person's life, the kind of things that shape a personality.
Yeah.
Will be passed on through DNA.
Okay.
And so we have our ancestors' memories. And I've been thinking about this and working out a few theories. And the first one had to do with when I was having a discussion with my friend about why African American people commit half, more than half the murders in our country, despite making
Oh my
13% of the
God, it's everything
population.
with you. Okay.
Okay. But
Murdering
maybe
mostly
they
each
have,
other, though.
maybe they have, maybe they have this ingrained frustration, anger, hatred towards white people be in their DNA, and or maybe just not towards white people, or just in general, because the people that survived that, everyone that was a part of slavery, anyone who was a slave had to be put through so many traumatic things.
Okay, and
But,
then a lot of the white people in this country have the ancestral memory of like, holy fuck, they're free now, and we fucked them over, kind of. So we should.
I don't. Well, maybe, but I don't. I think that's more like a culturally developed thing, because 1.4% of the population at the height of slavery owned slaves. So
Oh
that's
yeah, you
I.
know what? That's true.
So I don't think
I
either of
always
our
forget
ancestors
this,
owned
and
slaves.
that also I've read that the average Southerner, during the time of the Civil War, say, was opposed to
Uh,
slavery because
right.
they took what they perceived as jobs, and they were bringing people
Exactly.
from other countries to do
Right.
jobs that they could get paid for. It's kind of like Mexicans
Immigrant.
in big cities now, how people go like,
Exactly.
look, they're doing it for cheap. We can't do it for that fucking price, and they're taking the jobs. And okay, it's a kind of the same like blue collar white guy view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
That Marxist view. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So what is the point that it isn't the majority of white people that supported slavery, anyways?
Right. Well, so they're wrongfully. People. I think they direct this because I think maybe, and I know like this is gonna. You could take the sound clip, make it sound racist, but that if it's true that traumatic memories are passed through DNA, then any African American person whose ancestors were slaves have some of the most traumatic memories that we could possibly think of. And maybe even before they were slaves in America, when they were slaves in Africa, when they were on the boat, when they came here. I mean, you're thinking about terrible, terrible lives that nobody would want. And those are passed through the DNA. So
Okay.
that explains why, maybe why 52% of the murders were committed by 13% of the population, because they were so angry and they didn't know why, and they couldn't explain this anger. I mean, this stuff is just being figured out now, and that's part of the theory, is that maybe they have been passed on this frustration, and they don't know what to do with it, so they're just acting out violently, and that's not their fault. They're born angry, and because they have these memories of being treated so poorly in their DNA.
What is it about black people that you don't like?
Sorry. All right, I get what you're saying. Um, it's an interesting theory, and I mean, I guess back to like drunk white people talking about black people. It does make sense, and but also there's a lot of like cultural cues that I've talked about before. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to grow up and be told like, listen, you're oppressed, you're disadvantaged, you're this and that, and there's a lot of things that seem debilitating about like just being black in the United States. And a lot of things you got to conquer, and you got to be damn near genius to escape all of the cultural trappings,
I don't know. I would maybe argue that it's human nature to overcome obstacles, and they might be more likely to succeed if they're told they can't because they have to prove somebody wrong, where white people are just told, hey, do this, get good grades, go to college, and you will succeed. And then they don't. Whereas a black person could be, I'm just saying what you were just saying, that they're told they can't really succeed. If they're told that, maybe they'll work even harder and they'll prove those people wrong. So
probably across the board, no matter what race you are, a small percentage of people will be motivated by that, but a lot of people will just listen to it. You know.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm one of those few that like I like the challenge. If you tell me I can't do something, I like to prove you wrong. But okay, everyone's not like
that's
that.
why people with that outlook are considered inspiring by others, because they're not normal. You know.
Okay.
Basically. What was the point of this? I forget what thing outside of our cultural perspective that we were commenting on.
It was my theory that like
right, yeah, okay.
Everything is passed through DNA, so like that could explain where we're at right now.
You extrapolate that and you end up with okay, so we're now gonna have to accept that we are subject to the ancestral memories of our ancestors that we might not be so proud of in certain ways.
Not necessarily. Sorry.
Why not?
Well, because I'm thinking like things like it explains a lot. Like, how do you explain arachnophobia or what do you call being the fear of spiders?
Possibly evolution, but it may not be a different thing.
Okay, evolution, but that memory. How are you born with that memory that you're supposed to be scared of spiders? That doesn't make any sense unless memories are passed through DNA.
Right. No, it's. I agree with the concept. We've looked into it before on the show, and I think it bears out usually, and it makes a lot of sense, and it seems to connect a lot of things that didn't make sense before.
Right.
So yeah, I get it. One time I was taking a shit. One time I was taking a shit in the basement at my dad's house when he lived in this like 200-year-old house, and there were spiders all over the place. And I looked up in the corner, and there was this giant spider, and it did like the spider, like it was had its back to me, and it did like the spider leg, like put its legs out perfectly, so it's like top hands were like bent in an angle, and it made this like spider pose like at me. And it sent fucking shivers down my spine, dude. I was like, I felt it like deep in my stomach. I was like, oh, just this primal reaction to it. And yeah, it comes. I agree that it's there's some kind of memory in DNA, and the science is now proving it. I get it, totally.
But
why does that exclude? Why does that exclude us and possible feelings of superiority and dominance? I don't
know. I mean, do you ever? I mean, you might not want to admit it, but do you ever like feel a sense of inadequacy around certain type of people, and you can't explain why? And you would never maybe admit this normally, but I mean, could you? I mean, if you know what I'm saying.
Like, what do you mean? Like around like other?
I don't know, like successful individuals, people who perceive like that they're who put off this image that they're very successful, and like, is that an innate thing where you respond to that
because you have an ancestral memory of being poor and inferior?
Maybe. I mean, I know I wasn't fucking rich. Any of my ancestors, some of them were kind of wealthy, but I'm pretty sure overall, like, go back far enough, not very wealthy.
Maybe, but a lot of this stuff could be attributed to just like state of mind at the time regarding the individual. You know, I mean, it's not. It's hard to say, but I think that you're onto something as far as like cultures go, with cultural memories that they can't let go of and maybe shouldn't, because it's part of who they are, and as you know, things resonate out throughout time. You know, it's just part of what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I mean, This was actually, I thought of this earlier when we were talking about pedophilia. It reminded me of it because um, if you go back like 3 couple, no more than like 300, go back like 400, 500 years who your ancestors were, they were marrying 12 or 13-year-olds. So it's not that weird that people are attracted to, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you go back a couple hundred years, that was the norm,
Well,
and now
shit,
it's
in
not.
I think in Yemen they marry 8-year-olds. You know, shit
That,
worse than
yeah,
that still
that's
goes on.
crazy.
So it's
Yeah, well, that's like they're not even, yeah, they're not even near like uh entering sexuality at 8. That's really weird. But just like, we all enter puberty at like 12-ish, 13, 14.
sure.
So like that's how it was for hundreds of years until the last 200 to 300 years. Like things have just changed drastically. So it it's I'm not defending like these like Nambla guys or anything or like pedophile rights, but you could understand if this all like you could kind of explain why they're like that if memories really are passed through DNA and they're just
Oh,
totally
okay.
into
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
like and it's like, I don't want to defend it. That's not what I'm trying to do, but I was connecting another dot to something we were talking about.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because there is a like we were talking about before, the pedophilia, like they're trying to normalize it and call it like a lifestyle
Right.
rather than a disorder and blah blah blah.
Exactly.
And we've seen that a lot. But there is something just universally deplorable about somebody taking advantage of someone who's not advanced enough to make their own decisions. And like there's a real conversation there about like, okay, when I was 19, my girlfriend was 17, and I think that was technically illegal, but it's like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
There's
women
there's some 16-year-old girls that go out and fuck 22-year-olds, and they're not sitting around when they're 25 all fucked up about it. They're fine with it. You know what I mean? There's all different things that happen.
Yes,
like,
I know girls like that, and I know intelligent women will admit, because they know this psychologically, girls mature faster than boys, mentally and sexually. So it's not really
Dude, there was a
strange.
there was a lot of girls that not only didn't care, that wanted to be with older guys and did, and honestly, it was like not like,
this kind of.
Yeah, we're sounding like total scumbags, but I'm just remembering girls I knew in high school that's like, oh yeah, her girlfriend or her boyfriend is 26. And it's like you're like 16, 17.
No, there were girls like that.
And they were fucking proud of it and happy about it, and maybe they were abused earlier in life. I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, like, they made their own decisions and they were probably old enough to do it,
Maybe they weren't. Maybe this ties back into the memory. Maybe girls are used to being with guys 6 to 10 years older than them, and that's why girls in high school are attracted to like 20-something-year-old dude. Like, because I remember all these girls dating guys that were that were like in college in my high school, and it was weird at the time, and I didn't understand it. But maybe that explains it.
And you felt like you'd never be able to fuck that girl because some adult guy had fucked her. You're like, oh no way, dude. That she's out of the fucking queue.
You're totally in that psychological trap. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I mean, it's a weird fucking thing, because then definitely there are the 15-year-old girls that somehow get psychologically dominated by a 50-year-old, and it could be considered to be like really terrible.
That
is
bad.
You know what I mean? But it's a wide spectrum, I guess.
Right. I mean, maybe, who's not to say a couple hundred years ago when this was normal, that the culture wasn't like, they completely respected that young girl that they took on to be their bride. You know, like people are so fucking twisted today.
Dude, there's all range of things, but then there's
nobody has any morals today. Like some guy you're talking to is some creep. You know, like.
There's all range of things like you're talking about, but also there's the guy in Yemen a couple years ago that raped his 8-year-old bride to death. So, you know, I mean, there's this shit has limits.
Oh yeah. Oh well, and I'm not defending it at all. I was just trying to kind of bring something up.
No, I get like they put like hard lines on things. Like for instance, like what I was talking about when I was like 19 and my girlfriend was 17. I don't think in a million years any police station would have enforced it, especially at that time, or ever thought of it as like a crime, and it definitely shouldn't be. Obviously, we were in the same fucking social circle. You know what I mean? We weren't like from different generations or some shit, but like, you know, I guess there's a fine line somewhere. There's like if I had been 19 and she had been 15. All right, now we're in this area of like maybe shouldn't be doing that and kind of taking it, you know what I mean? Like there's a
I mean, I remember like a 16-year-old girl dating like a 25-year-old.
Dude, I understand that it happens and it's not always abuse at all, but I'm just saying like I understand, like I'm just saying there's a clear line of where shit's like questionable and not, I guess. Whatever. Who cares what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. And that's a very blurred line, so it's a really weird part of society. And it's like, it's the kind of thing that like is totally normal in some circumstances, like you're talking about. But when you put it in another way, like a public figure or something, it's this huge ordeal. I don't know. I don't think it's okay. It's just weird. There's definitely a line where you're crossing the limit. I think it's a maturity level because
totally.
I think people, I don't know, not enough people have the same ideals in our society. So I don't know. It doesn't really.
Let's see.
Who am I?
The Independent is reporting on a thought-provoking AMA Ask Me Anything on Reddit that featured an anonymous, though verified criminal psychologist and her perspective on pedophilia. This is what this article from before was about. And this person says, pedophilia is a sexual orientation like being straight or gay. The idea that sexual attraction to children is an orientation is highly controversial, blah, blah, blah. Writing on the Reddit network website, he said it was the psychologist said it was possible to treat child sex abusers on the understanding that the attraction may always remain. So they're basically saying you can train these people to not act on it as long as you don't deny that it's just going to be part of their life, that they're going to feel this way. It is a creepy, dude. I mean, because
it's a creepy reality, but it's like the same concept with like an alcoholic, just that it is going to always exist and you have to deal with it. But you can manage it, or
I don't think you can compare it to alcoholism because, like, you know, a pedophile can ruin someone's life, literally, can change the direction of their life and make them a shaky, nervous mess for the rest of their fucking life in 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
true.
This is a much more dangerous fucking thing. I mean, there's people, literally, I've seen so many interviews of people that at least claim to have been part of, like, pedophilia rings or this kind of shit, or victims, and it's, dude, I mean, you can just see how it ruins people. It completely ruins people.
I don't know. Maybe it's just easy for me to just say I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand it at all. It makes no sense to me. It's disgusting. And I tried, like, most of the stuff I get into.
Who wants to touch a kid? Like, they're all covered in fucking snot and sugar. Like, have you ever dealt with a kid before? They're fucking disgusting, dude.
But that's not even,
Like, who even wants to deal with this bullshit? Like, even if you were attracted to a kid, how could you even fucking live with yourself fucking such a disgusting mess? Sorry. Anyways.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
But for
it's just
no,
like
honestly, I'm very anti-pedophilia. You know?
No, I mean, dude, I babysit kids. I teach kids in sports at
Yeah, dude,
young
it's
kids, young and
horrifying.
and
It's horrifying to the average person.
And it is because these are these when you working with it. This sounds so gay, but working with these kids it's so fucking inspiring because it's when you witness the young mind at work, 5, 6, 7 years old, when they're just developing, they're so pure and they're so genuine and they're real.
You do kind of sound like a pedophile right now.
No, but they're very they're good, they're such good, and it's okay. Sorry, what I would want to do, teaching these kids, is teach them how to be good kids, and then the fact that there's people that would take advantage of these young.
No, yeah, because
bright,
your instinct,
these young,
whenever you're
bright, young.
Yeah, if you're like a regular person, whenever you're
I
around,
articulated.
whenever you're around children, there is an instinctual my girlfriend,
parental type of vibe.
My girlfriend,
that's how
shut
I get,
up. Listen, listen. My girlfriend now has a sister who had a baby 10 years ago, I think. And I remember I was pretty young, but the father wasn't around, and we would help take care. And I just had this instinctual I will do anything for this kid. I need to protect him and give him whatever he wants, and it would just kicked into me immediately. I'm like, I'll do anything to help this kid. Anything. I remember one time spending I was completely broke, drunk with nothing in my life, and I remember spending my last $20 on dinner for him, just because of it. Just I had to, it was just. It kicks in if you're a normal person. And if anybody had ever tried to do anything, and he wasn't my son, I only fucking knew the kid a little bit, honestly, but I just had this feeling of if anybody ever were to fuck with him in this fucking world, I would destroy them.
They're going exactly.
I'm going to prison.
No, and it's that's what I'm saying is how can you fuck with it? Because I get that same feel these kids if any because. It's a golf class, and it's if anytime I think a kid's about to get hurt, I've dove in front of clubs because I thought I was about to hit another kid in the head, and I've gotten hit. I'm just, it's this fucking.
No, I know.
Your heart starts racing. When you're trying to protect a kid, your heart starts racing.
All you gotta say is it's an instinct that kicks in to protect the younger of your species, and that's what every species functional members have. That's why I fucking hate people that go, I hate kids. It really makes me fucking feel weird about them.
How can you say that? Because you were a kid once, and kids are what are gonna be taking care of you when you're older. Kids are everything, and I have that instinct that I need to protect them. I need to give them the right ideas, not steer them in the wrong direction. There's a lot
the children.
So
I must protect the children.
But these kids I teach, they're it's such a pussified fucking culture.
Yeah, I hate the kids. Fuck them.
No,
fucking little faggots everywhere. Wait, what? Sorry. No.
I hate the agenda in the school. It's it's very emasculating. So when I'm teaching these kids, if they act like pussies at all, I don't fucking stand for it. I'm just shut up, get the fuck up. Somebody has to
love,
be
Alex. That's what it's called. It's called tough love. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You gotta apply it where it's
due. Tough love was the best thing I ever got anywhere. I cannot.
Oh yeah, where'd you get that?
Any positive teacher
you
or
got
role
no
model.
Tough love. You were coddled. Your mom
I'm
coddled.
I'm talking about coaches and stuff. It was.
Oh yeah, what they do?
The best.
Like when you walk in the locker room and get on your knees and your coach would slap his dick on your face?
No, just like not taking any shit and expecting you to be fucking good people and work hard. They're just demanding excellence. It's just
yeah. No, I'm glad you.
Everyone's so fucking coddled. I don't know.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I thought it was when you'd walk in the locker room and get on your knees and your coach would slap his dick on your face. That's what I thought. So I'm glad you cleared that up. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, dude, I know what you mean. That tough love, it was a real son of a bitch back in the day. Hard to get. Everybody was much too forgiving. I remember thinking as I was a kid, I'll never learn anything if all these adults keep forgiving me for all my transgressions. I used to have that thought frequently. We'd talk about it on the playground. Can you believe the lack of discipline our generation gets? Remember?
Well, what do you think about the Harvard team, the Harvard cross country team?
Oh, what happened with them? I saw that on Drudge earlier, but I didn't read the article.
Yeah, the Harvard University has placed the men's cross country team on probation after their lawyers found that the team made quote crude and sexualized unquote documents about women's cross country team. So basically, I think they were rating these women on their appearance, 1 out of 10, and somebody found the list and they turned these kids in, and their entire season was put on probation because they were rating women as men do all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that since I was very young, but I understand young kids are gonna do that shit. Yeah,
it is weird that like 20-year-olds are doing it.
I think when I was 20, I was probably kind of outgrown shit like that. But like, okay, so whatever. So they're doing it. What does it really fucking matter? I mean, here's the thing. Like, I've been in plenty of situations with women where I was like made to feel like less good looking or something than somebody else. You know what I mean? If I want to be sensitive about it, I could fucking pull that shit up too.
Women marginalize men more than men marginalize women. That's a fact.
And they're open about it. It's the same thing. They feel like the underdog, so they're striking upward, and they can count on the sympathy vote, for their actions being justified or whatever. That's just I get, and you know what? Some of this stuff, fine. What I wish is with anything like that, I wish they would just call it revenge instead of equality. I would be fine with that. If like you want a period of revenge, all right, then I have to get
redemption. Let's call it redemption.
Or whatever. Just even call it revenge, and then I at least have to confront that as a concept. But like you're just you're just lying.
Like, you're changing the rules to make everything favor you, but it's all in the name of equality, gender equality. That's the thing about third wave or feminism, whatever they fucking want to call it.
I like how we just took an article about guys being douchebags and just didn't talk about it and just flipped it into how women suck. We just didn't even tie it to anything. Just like, but you know what? Fuck women. Like, we should knock them down a peg. What a couple of fucking assholes we are. Jesus Christ. Anyways, go on.
Well,
now that I said that, I don't feel like we can even do this anymore.
You really threw me off track.
But it's they probably I think suspending a fucking team for something like that is pretty fucking extreme. It seems weird. It's like, I would think, like, you know what it is? It's all social networking. It's the unrealistic world that we live in, because at one time, here's what would have happened. The coach would have come in and gone like, what are you, fucking retarded? You guys are fucking doing this shit and posting it up somewhere? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
you got a fucking season to worry about.
Right. And the coach would have said, you know what? Every single one of you, I guarantee you there would have been times that this happened. They would have said, every single one of you is going to fucking apologize, and that's going to be the end of this bullshit. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you. But now it's this giant fucking issue. So the administration has to respond. We're going to take an action on this because we can't be, seen as passive and complacent on this issue because we're surely concerned with misogyny on our campus, and this is a perfect example of it. And it's just, by the way, a sport nobody gives a fuck about. So and doesn't make us money. If the football team did it, you think they're doing that?
You were quick to like stop us from turning this into an attack on men, but maybe this necessarily isn't, even though I kind of think it is. But men are being attacked fucking all over campuses and colleges. It's happening everywhere.
Yeah, that's fine.
Guys being guys.
But there's a certain amount of guys being guys that isn't cool. See, that's what I remember from being young. Is I remember that like guys being guys can mean me and you and a couple of other guys sitting around talking shit, being dirty, saying fucked up stuff about whoever and whatever, and it's all in good fun. But it can also lead to fucking terrible fucking things. That it's not people like you or me, but a guys can be guys fucking atmosphere that's like just don't question anything. It has. I mean, you can't. Here's the thing. Although like now rape has become this controversial concept somehow that it's like, people are like lying about it and then other people are telling the truth and being denied and blah, blah, blah. You can't fucking deny that it is a major epidemic. And if you know enough women who are honest with you, you know that a lot of women are abused and scared and blah, blah, blah. And it is a fucking problem.
Yeah. Well, statistically more men are raped than women.
Yeah, because the prison population consists of mostly men, and that's 2 million people at this point. I mean, that's where it happens in prison.
Right.
Mostly. But I totally understand that, but that doesn't deny the fact. I mean, dude, I'm one person, and I've known. I've personally known 3 or 4 women that have told me that they were raped and didn't report it to law enforcement. So. It's just, I mean, it's a huge fucking problem. That's the thing is like, again, I guess I get both sides of it. Cause like a certain amount of boys will be boys. Yeah. We sit around and fuck around and blah, 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 blah. But then another extrapolation on it. And you further that culture
hose will be hose.
Yeah. But then you go like, you start apologizing for everything. A guy, he's just a guy. And you get dogmatic about it and apologize for everything they do. It's bullshit, dude. It's like anything. You can't be a fucking anybody or any kind of thing. You can't fit in with anything because you're going to be a hypocrite. You can't join any group. You can't do anything anymore. Everything is so opposed. Nothing is logical. Everything sucks. Everyone's fucking retarded.
Fuck.
You see what I'm saying, right?
I understand.
Yeah.
I get it, man.
Well... new rule, if you don't have anything else to talk about, you should end your talk show. Wait.
Well,
start the clock.
I just want
to...
Wait, it's a new rule. Talk show's over.
New rule. We are pro-Palestine on the show, and we want to make that clear.
Yeah, we've always been pro-Palestine in the show.
Hey,
always.
No, I'm just saying, it's never, you can never say it enough.
Yes, you're right.
We're
very pro-Palestine.
Fuck
we
Israel.
always have been. Fuck Israel. The genocidal fucking maniacs that they are. Fuck them. Fuck Zionism.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Fucking try to please take us off YouTube, Zionist. We'll fucking come back 10 times hard.
But fuck
we'll come back 10 times harder. You fucking Zionist pigs. You're the most racist piece of shits on the fucking planet Earth.
Besides Mexicans.
Vinny's words, not mine.
New rule. My words are Alex's words.
New rule. Reverse that rule.
New rule, no rule reversals allowed ever, forever. Rule reversal master forever.
New rule, the rule master must be dictated by a vote, and the vote is dictated by me. I vote it me, and then the rule cannot be dictated anymore. I'm the rule master. End of discussion.
New rule,
and there can't be no more rules.
Last rule was negated by the rule previously stated in the charter as recorded on 12/5/2016, 434 hours Central.
Well, as of 434 hours and 458 seconds, I'm going to litigate that situation as much as we can. We're going to challenge it. We're going to take it to the highest courts of this nation.
New rule, you have to suck my dick until it turns into a volcano of cum and shoots into your throat until you choke, and I take you out to my backyard and bury you and put a gravestone up that says "Cum sucking freak," and that is all you'll ever be remembered by. Good night. This has been the Overdose Talk Show. No chance to respond. Good night.
Show. Vinny just threatened me. Vinny just threatened me. Let the record show that Vinny just sexually threatened me.
You sound so stupid without the music.
And I will not stand for it. That was a threat. That was sexually assault.
I'm
that was a threat against my fucking life, and I want the record to show that, and the record will show that, and I will see you in court. Good night.
I'm leaving that whole thing on here because you sound dumb without the music. Good night.